Cypress Development Corp's flagship lithium project is located just east of Albemarle's Silver Peak mine in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. A 12-hole exploration drill program for lithium-enriched claystone on Cypress's 100% controlled properties is now underway. Cypress Development Corp trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol CYP, the Pink CYDVF, and on Frankfurt C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Harvey Oberfeld, a retired but still issue-engaged television reporter. His blog, Keeping It Real, you can find online at harveyoberfeld.ca. Welcome back to the show, Harvey, and welcome back to BC after your stay in Florida.
Yes, it's good to be back. It's not snowing, it's not raining, it's not freezing. I'm quite happy to be back home for a few weeks.
Did your property survive all the hurricanes?
Yes, no problem at all. I'm on the East Coast, and of course most of the damage was on the West Coast, although the storm did hit our area pretty badly. But fortunately, my place, there was no damage at all inside, so it was pretty good.
Harvey, the big issue in British Columbia, the Site C Dam, the Premier reluctantly approving the project to go ahead. Your feelings on it?
Well, you know, I actually, everybody was, there was a lot of pressure on him to cancel it, and tremendous pressure over the last few years, actually. People hated it right from the start, and a lot of the people on the left were really pushing him, pushing the government, even before they took office, pushing the candidates. So there's been a lot of pressure, but of course, you know, they'd already spent about $2 billion on the project, and if they stopped, the remediation would cost about another $2 billion. So you got $4 billion there. That, as the Premier noted quite rightly, this is money spent that would have, if you just stopped, would have no way of ever being recouped in any way. So that's a lot of money. But I wrote a blog going against the tide, as I often do, a few weeks ago, saying the project should go ahead, because not only because it's you know, been started, and there are thousands of jobs that are tied up in that project, current and future. I thought that you know, we can use that power eventually in BC. I assume the province will continue to grow. I assume the American economy south of us will continue to grow, and I presume you know, there will be a need for more electrical power. And so I actually wrote a blog that, yes, you know, solar is fine and wind power is fine, but we could use this project. It's already underway. And 50 years from now, nobody will be remembering the naysayers. They'll just be glad that it's here, and it'll continue to produce revenues for BC once it's paid off, despite the high cost now. And I also noted the cost will never come down, so why would you stop it now? And of course, that drew quite an angry reaction from some of my blog readers, but I stood firm on it, and I said it was the only thing that could reasonably be done, and now Horgan and the NDP are doing exactly that. They may not like what they're left with, but they decided it would be foolish and foolhardy to stop it now, and the benefits will be down the line.
Well, many people in the business community have said this is a project that stretches out for 100 years. 100 years, like you said, 100 years from now, they won't be caring about the debate that went into the project. They'll be damn glad they have power for all their electric self-driving cars. Well,
that's it. Well, you know, look at W.A.C. Bennett. I mean, when he came up with all these massive dam projects and started them and this sort of thing, he had a vision that eventually they would be needed. Eventually they would be, you know, do benefit to BC as far as revenues and export revenues and things like that. Now, it doesn't always go as rosy as you might predict, but over the long term, and that's the key, over the long term, these dams have a lifespan that's certainly greater than a windmill, and over the long term, they've made been a tremendous resource for BC. The you know, dams that we've had built before, and this one will too. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be. Yes, the cost is high, but as I said, it's never going to get lower. And the naysayers, these people that say no to everything, it's just amazing to me that people who say no to this, no to resource development, no to every project, no to pipelines, and they're the ones who scream loudest that we have to have more public services and better public services and expanded public services. Well, sometimes you have to crack a few eggs to get things done, and when you look at all the type of projects that can be done involving our resources, putting in a dam is really not as bad as some of the others, like open pit mining and things like that, or even fracking. A dam, it does remove some land from use, but I believe Horgan said that 95% of the agricultural land up in that area will not be affected. So, I mean, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and go ahead. And I'm glad that the NDP, resisted the pressure from their own people and, of course, from the Greens, and said, no, the only thing realistically we can do is go ahead with it. And, the name of my blog is Keeping It Real, and in this case, the government did.
We'll have more with Harvey Oberfeld right after the break.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp. Inc., MGI on the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected high-grade gold, including 16.9 meters of 13.58 grams and 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program is planned to further evaluate previously identified subsurface high-grade gold mineralization. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com. Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Rainy Mountain Royalty Corp., RMO on the TSX Venture Exchange. Rainy Mountain's Brunswick property is located in the Rideout Shear Zone in Ontario, with grab samples running as high as 32 grams per ton gold. A follow-up drill program to test the numerous targets located by recent groundwork will commence later this year. Please visit our website at rmroyalty.com.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Harvey Oberfeld. Harvey, do you see people resigning from the NDP membership over this decision?
Yes, I could see some of that. But you know what? What is it they say in physics? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Yes, some of the more radical or some of the extremists or some of the people might go to the Greens and say, well, that's their party. But I bet you, and I'm sure that one of the considerations the BC government had, the NDP had, although they might not announce it, is they feel that they might even draw some support from people up in that area, which, as you know, I mean, the NDP didn't do very well up in that area, because the NDP has been tarred, and sometimes perhaps some would say realistically and justifiably, with the image of, no development, no construction, nothing. So there's good reason that the NDP did well in the urban areas, in the last election, and not so well in the heartland of the province, the interior and up country. And this project, by going ahead and creating the thousands of jobs, I'll bet you there's a lot of people, not just those working on these projects, or this project up there, but a lot of people in the towns who own businesses, who own stores, who work in those places, who will be very happy that the NDP did go ahead with this. And I think politically it could turn out to be more of a winner than a loser, even though some people might go to the Greens. But I have a feeling that the vast majority of British Columbians wanted this project to go ahead, and I think it politically is probably a better, it'll turn out better for the NDP than the few people it may lose to the Greens.
Andrew Weaver, the leader of the Green Party, said he wasn't going to withdraw his support of the NDP to keep their coalition government going. Why would he not pull out?
Well, he wouldn't pull out for selfish reasons. I mean, I think that's a very good reason when you're dealing with politicians. First of all, the polls show that most British Columbians, I believe, more British Columbians are in favor of this project than oppose it. So, what's the political benefit of pulling out and dropping the government and having the whole thing go back to an election? I don't think most people in the province want an election right now. The Greens would be held responsible for causing it. And then from a selfish point of view, Andrew Weaver and the Greens have more power now than they've had in BC history. So is he going to sacrifice all that over some principle that he claims to have, and that he knows the public actually support a project? Is he going to give up all the power and the pressure and the perks even that he has now and his party have now to cause an election? I don't think so. Not over this project. If it was something the vast majority of the public were opposed to, then I could see him perhaps doing it, thinking he could take advantage in a new election. But when most of the province, or more of those who seem to support it than oppose it, there would be very little political benefit, a loss of not only political power, but also a loss of the prestige and perks that he's now enjoying. So I'm not surprised that he'll harumph and he'll make all kinds of, snort and make all kinds of statements, and the party will condemn the NDP, but in the end they won't pull the plug.
Well, the biggest reason to stay with the NDP is the Liberals would be very unlikely to agree to a proportional voting system?
I'm not quite sure about that. I haven't given a lot of thought to that lately. That proportional system, I think it eventually will come, but I don't see great pressure from the public calling for it. There's people who are politically involved quite often see the injustice sometimes of the first past the post system, but I don't think it's something. None of my friends come home from work and say, "Geez, I wonder if we're going to have proportional representation soon." And nobody really cares about it that much. And unless there's a lot of pressure to bring it in, I can't see that as being a priority over the next little while.
We'll have more with Harvey Oberfeld right after this.
Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and the Yukon. Trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the pink symbol ABN-AF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
In Goddard we trust.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Harvey Oberfeld. Harvey, do you think the decision to go with the Site C dam will make the NDP more positive when it comes to other projects in the province?
Well, at least it does away with to some extent, with the taint they had as being the party of no to this, no to Kinder Morgan, no to Enbridge, no to pipelines, no to fracking, no to any resource development. I mean, they were getting that reputation, although they would insist there are some natural gas projects that they have supported. But they have been tarred with that sort of that image of being no, the party of no. Well, here's a yes, and it's a big yes, and it's in that area of the province, it's an important yes. So I think it's beneficial to them, and I think it gives them more credibility in dealing with other projects. I mean, don't forget they also canceled the Massey bridge replacement project there, the tunnel. So I think they needed a win as well as just saying no to everything. They needed something that looks like they're doing something. And if they can, do some major projects with transportation infrastructure and get things going, I think that's the kind of thing that'll win them support up country, which is, and which is where they really, really need to build. If they want to have a majority government, they can't just do it in the urban areas. They've got to get out there and do something in the interior of BC and the north of BC.
When Carol Taylor was finance minister under the BC Liberals, she told me she literally had nightmares about the price of natural gas because BC gets royalties, and she said a 1 cent swing in the price can cost the province millions and millions of dollars. Does the NDP understand how important resource extraction is when it comes to filling government coffers?
Oh yeah, they know it's important. Now, of course, they can be different from, let's say, the Liberals or any other party. They can say we support resource development as long as it's done in a way that minimizes or eliminates the damage to the environment and protects our air and water and all that good stuff. They can try to portray themselves as being different from the other parties, and maybe some of whom are prepared to ease on regulations and things like that. But there is a point where you have to watch the breaking point, where eventually it becomes where the regulations and it takes so long to get anything done, and it's so complicated people, major investors say, hell, we'll go somewhere else. We'll go to Asia. We'll go to Australia. We'll go to New Zealand. We'll get our things. We'll go to Russia. We'll get everything from somewhere else. So it's a fine line to draw. But I can't see it would hurt the NDP to have at least an improved reputation for doing something that's positive in building the the economy that we are part of.
Now, Global Television did a great investigative piece where they found there's 30 or more dams in BC that don't have permits. They're private. We already had the Mount Polley disaster. We're lucky that no lives were taken when that dam collapsed. Is that an area where the NDP could shine and make up for some of the mistakes made by the Liberal government?
That's perfect, because where you have dams or projects that do exist, the NDP could develop a reputation for making sure that they're done safely and they're done properly and they're policed. So in other words, what we're getting out of them are benefits rather than disasters. And I don't think most people would really object to that. I think people have concerns about the environment and the air and the safety downriver of any project, or any refinery or anything that's built, any mine. But people do want jobs and people want the economy to grow. And apart from the far left and the people who are just extreme and don't want anything, I think most people would support the NDP if they said, yes, we're going to allow these projects, but we're going to police them. We're going to make sure they're done properly, and they get the permits, and they pay the fees, and they do it safely. And I mean, that's a winning formula.
With pot going to be legal in Canada within 6 months, a lot of provinces have said, we're not ready. It's going to cost us a lot in policing. It sounds like they almost expect riots in the streets. I talked to people in Washington, California, Oregon, Alaska, where they've had legal pot for a long time. They said the day after it was made legal, life was the same. They didn't notice any visible difference.
Well, I'll tell you a little secret that a lot of people don't realize. We already have 95 pot dispensaries in Vancouver. 95. So, anybody who says they can't get pot, I mean, if you can't get some sort of a medical certificate from a doctor, you're not trying very hard. So, we already have pot in our society. My concern is, when people smoke, it's just like drinking. Are they safe on the roads and things like that? If they want to do it for their personal lives, that's their business. It's not my business to tell them what to do, as long as they're not hurting others. But I can't see it would radically change as long as everything is policed, just the way it is with booze. That if people are taking advantage and being irresponsible, then nail them. But like I say, we've got 95 dispensaries, as I understand it, in Vancouver right now. So, and never mind the rest of the province too. So, it doesn't seem to be affecting the city here. There's nobody going rampantly wild here in the streets. Making it legal isn't going to increase that. There's always going to be some idiots, but there's idiots now. So it's just a matter of proper policing and taking those off the street who are abusing it and putting the rest of us at danger.
Do you find any irony that so many former top cops are getting both hands and feet into the marijuana business now?
I don't know anything about that. I've been in Florida. We've got other problems to deal with down there in the United States. When I'm down there, didn't hear anything about that story you just mentioned. But I'm eventually this week I think I'm going to blog on what happened in the States in Alabama. Well, I have an angle that nobody else has really paid much attention to, and I think it's very significant. And I'm hoping to blog about it next Monday.
Harvey, thank you so much for chatting with us.
You're welcome.
My guest has been Harvey Oberfeld. Check out his blog, Keeping It Real, at harveyoberfeld.ca. You're listening to the Goddard Report. If you have any questions for us or our guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.